What's good, my people? Welcome into Buckets, Action Network's daily NBA betting podcast. We're in the workshop Tuesday, NBA slate, and you know who's with me. J Money is Money. You know where to find him all over the place at J Money is Money. I am your host, Sean Little, recording this live from our Tommy John home studios. You know how we do. We get the play, we get the cap, we get you guys out of here. Light slate on a Tuesday, but we did find a couple spots. J Money is Money. Give me your best bet for the Tuesday NBA slate.
We're in the workshop. I like the Wizards team total under 109.5, my guy.
I'm also on a team total. I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to go Nets team total over 103.5 minus 110 coming off a big home win against the Lakers. We'll get into the handicap. All right, Jay. Right before we hit record and started talking about going through our regular buckets chatter, overall the slate is kind of rubbish. 4 games: Nets, Cavs, Wizards, Pistons, Bucks, Pacers, Clippers, Pelicans. Not the most enticing. I would have loved to see some props for Giannis going up against the Pacers. He always smashes those boys. That game should be open and up and down. I was interested to see some numbers. I haven't seen them yet as we record this Monday night, 11:21 p.m. But, Jay, why are you looking at the Wizards team total under here versus the Pistons?
Well, first off, they're going up against a Pistons team that's been playing lights out defense. The only thing I don't like is they're coming back home from a little 4-game West Coast trip. But like the Pistons, the reason why they're one of the most improved teams, Bickerstaff has these guys playing some really great defense, man. Like, just watch this team. They're flying around, 10th best defensive rating over the last 5 games. And if you go back a little further than that, before they've dropped a few games, you go back like to the last 10 games, they have a top 5 defense. So this Pistons team has been playing some lights out basketball, man. Jalen Duren, Cade Cunningham, all these guys, man. You got guys like Tim Hardaway Jr. out there like, come on, let's lock up. So really love what I'm seeing from their defense. And also, I mean, like, this is the Wizards, man. So we know tail end to the season, they're starting to make vacation plans. You know, Cancun, they're telling the wives, hey, let's go. Hey, where are we going, baby? Right after that last game of the season, we on the beach, you know what I'm saying? But bottom, the number 30th ranked offense in the league over the last 5 games, Sean. How many teams is it in the NBA, my guy?
It's 30.
It's 30 teams. So the worst offense in the league over the last 5 games, probably for the season. Obviously, they'll have some games where they put up like 120, but that's usually versus bad teams that don't take defense seriously, that's just kind of running up and down the court. I don't see that from the Pistons. Even if their shots aren't falling, I still expect them to bring a defensive effort. They know that they can't drop these games. They have to take these games serious as well. Wizards also coming off a back-to-back as well. I believe they played in Toronto today as well. So a little back-to-back, 3rd game in 4 nights for the Wizards as well. And like I said, they only put up 104 versus the Raptors as well, man. So really feel like this is a good spot for the Pistons to continue to sharpen themselves on the defensive end. And then, like I say, the Wizards, they just don't scare me on the offensive end, in my opinion, man. So once again, worst ranked offensive rating in the league over the last 5 games. They might have Middleton back tomorrow, but like, I don't care. I'm rocking with the under 109.5 in this one.
14 is the number in favor of the Pistons. 234.5 is the total. Interesting spot because they play each other once again on Wednesday. So catch the team total on the front end instead of the back end once they get a little closer look at each other, and a new and improved Detroit Pistons team as well should be an interesting spot. Overall, how serious are you about the Pistons when it comes to the playoffs? You think they can win a series and make a little noise coming out of that 6th slot?
No. I like the Pistons. I love them. I know a lot of people saying I do have a lot of money on a special player from the Pistons to win most improved player. It's not done yet, but still need that to happen. But I know a lot of people say, oh, he's a former number 1 pick. It doesn't matter. He's the best player on the most improved team. So the Pistons are pretty much like the Rockets last year. I don't think the Rockets made the playoffs, though. But yeah, sitting at number 6, I thought they would be in the play-in. They're definitely the most improved team. If it wasn't for how good the Cavs were, Bickerstaff probably could be in a running for Coach of the Year, man. Like, how many wins they have last year, bro? Like 9 wins or something like that. It was something bad. They were horrible. And the fact that they've made this flip this quick, like, it's huge. But no, I mean, if they match up against the Knicks in the first round, Knicks will handle their business versus the Pistons. So I like the Pistons. They're growing. I love their direction, but I'm definitely going to be betting against them in the first round of playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they set that record for most consecutive losses in the season.
That was crazy.
It's been a big turnaround in Detroit. I love everything that they've got going on, and you can get used to losing quite a bit. And Cade seemed like he never bought into that loser culture that was starting to brew over there. And yeah, that's what happens, man. You get a new coaching staff, you get new things. It's funny, Bickerstaff's in Cleveland. They think he's not enough. He flips, goes to Detroit, and he's got them winning a lot of games. So, Bickerstaff might not have been the guy for Cleveland to push them over the edge. But when we talk about a program, quote unquote, program builder and doing things the right way and going about it. Hey, and you know how I feel about Tobias Harris. He's not my favorite basketball player of all time. But he brought some good ball to Detroit and has brought that veteran presence. And shout out Malik Beasley as well.
For sure.
But he's been unbelievable. It's funny because if it wasn't for Cade and Malik's coming off the bench as number 2 behind Peyton Pritchard for 6th man of the year, I think even so, he should be on the most improved list. He's not even on the sheet, but he's been massive for them off the bench. Yeah, I hear what you're saying about Detroit. I love what they're doing.
This is without Ivy too, bro. I'm not gonna lie. When Ivy went down, I said, so this is the thing to be excited about the Pistons. They have a true big 3. Like, you have a true superstar player in Cade Cunningham that's can be a walking triple-double out there. Then you have Ivy. He's another ball handler. He can shoot threes. He can get inside the paint. Then you have Duren, who's a beast down low on the boards, on the lobs. Like, if Duren add a little shot in there, that's gonna be crazy. But that big 3 is gonna be well for the Pistons going forward. They just build around it. I expect them to see them in the playoffs, possibly even a higher seed in the East next year. They're definitely a team to be reckoned with. But I just wanted to mention that I thought they were going to take a slide when Ivy went out. They went up even further, which was very surprising to me and shows a sign to great coaching.
Damn, if you just told me the Pistons would be laying 14 against anybody last year, I would have laughed you out the room. They are a 14-point favorite tomorrow against the Wizards. So salute to Detroit. 11-4 ATS in their last 15. Let's hope they could put the clamps on Washington and cash that team total under. For J Money is money. All right, Jay. You know what I say sometimes? You got to go out on a limb. That's where the fruit is. And I was initially breaking down this game, and it was such an obvious team total under spot. But then as I started digging a little more, I think the number's flat out a little too low for the Nets. I'm going to go Nets. Team total over 103.5 on the road in Cleveland versus the Cavaliers, coming off of a big win against Luka. Played really good defense on him. He shot it really poorly. No LeBron, but they get the W. But flat out, I'm going against the grain here. Nets will be on a back-to-back, as I just mentioned, with the Lakers. Nets on no rest, 2-9 to the under. Nets on the road, 15-18 to the under. But, Jay, I can't find a reason the Cavaliers are going to take these boys seriously.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Nothing tells me that they're going to take these boys seriously and show up and play top tier Cavalier basketball. Listen to some of these games. First of all, last 5 games, they're 2-3 ATS. They've been playing with their food a little bit. They gave up 117 to the Hornets. They won a tight one, had to come back in that game. We're down as many as 9. They gave up 129 to the Blazers at home. They picked it up on I think that game ended 133-129. They gave up 124 to the Wizards. We were just talking about the Wizards. They gave up 124 to the Wizards a few weeks back. So it's been a little bit of their MO to play with their food and not take some of the bottom feeders as seriously as they should or should not. But that's just, they've still been getting wins, but they've been doing it on the offensive end, putting up huge numbers and winning games 135, 130. As I mentioned, 133, 129. Against that Blazers squad. But that's the biggest thing here. Now, the spread is 17.5, yeah?
Oh, Lord.
17 and a hook. My gut is telling me that's too many as well. But that's also partly why I'm looking at the team total here, just because if the Cleveland offense is so prolific that they could be one of those moves where they put up 140 and then they end up covering the 17, but the Nets can also score enough points to cover that team total. That's why I'm leaning that way. Now, last 10 games, Cavs defensive rating is third in the NBA, 108.3. But if the number's 17.5, and they've been playing with their food quite a bit, this might be a spot where Atkinson can get some bench guys some more minutes. When we talk about the bench's defensive rating for the Cleveland Cavaliers is 15th in the NBA over that same 10-game span. So if I can expect to see a lot of bench guys on the floor for the Cavs, the Nets can have a little bit of success. 103.5, I think flat out is too low for a squad that day in, day out, night in, night out. We've now seen it every single night. They come out strong. Best first quarter team in the NBA against the number. And overall, ATS have been very successful throughout the year. Fernandez has those guys still playing hard. The Lakers found out tonight. I think 103.5 is a touch too low. Cam Johnson and those guys can score a few points, especially if they continue to get off to a really good start like they have been all year. J Money, any thoughts?
Yeah, I know one thing. I'm at basketball practice and I'm checking the score, and I'm like, bro, the Nets finna beat them, bro. Like, what are we doing here? I think
Straight up,
the
yeah.
Lakers had got up by like 15 points, then Nets lead by 1 at the half and end up beating them outright. That's pretty crazy right there. But so Cam Thomas didn't play today. He probably is gonna play in this game, in the second leg of the back-to-back as well. That's definitely good for your over. I'd kind of, and everything that you're saying makes sense as well. We know that the Cavs at some point are going to have a hiccup, right? So they've won 14 straight games. They're going up against the Nets. They have the Grizzlies on deck after this. They're probably going to take their foot off of the gas defensively, but offensively, I expect them to do whatever they want. I think this is a nice over spot for your team total and for the full game total, because if they give up 105 to 110 for the Nets, we know that the Cavs put up at least 115, 120 as well. That's one thing that they do well regardless who they're playing, and that's offense, man.
Right.
So I mean, obviously always watch out for the injury report as well. They could definitely choose to give somebody a night off, but that would only help your cap as well on that Nets team total over. But like I say, if Cam Thomas coming in here, which I think he will, we expect this to be a little bit of a letdown spot defensively for the Cavs after winning all these big games. And you see it as well versus the Hornets. 118, 117. They wanted no parts of playing defense in that game. They wanted no parts of blowing them out by 20 points. They can win by 1, and they're good with that. I can see the exact same thing here. I actually wouldn't be surprised if the Nets cover this game, to be honest with you. I just don't really see the Cavs putting the pedal to the metal like that. Not this late in the season when they already pretty much got the number 1 seed locked up. At some point, they're going to start to scale back a little bit, and we should be able to make some money as well. So I'd lean toward the Nets team total over right there with you, and wouldn't be surprised if this was a replay of that Cavs and Hornets game. Also, triple revenge spot for the Nets. They've lost all 3 matchups versus the Cavs, so this is their 4th and final time seeing them. And recently, they didn't score over 101, so this is probably their chance to get up and over there. I like to play, my guy.
Yeah, and it just makes me believe more they're not going to say, man, we already bust these cats 3 times. Now we got to play them again. Oh, all right, man, whatever y'all want to do. I guess we'll play it since it's on the schedule. I'm not saying the Nets are going to go up to Cleveland and win outright. 17.5 feels heavy, and I expect them to be able to score 105, 106 in this ball game. We mentioned at the top of the show that we're coming to you from our Tommy John home studios, and that's because great games start with great underwear, and Tommy John makes the greatest. I got a bunch of stuff. You guys hear me talk about it all the time. I'm wearing the Jaws right now. Comfortable, flexible. So that goes for the shirts. That goes for the sleeping stuff. Go check out some Tommy John stuff ASAP. Remember, when you're truly comfortable, you do everything better, and that includes betting. So if you love the Buckets podcast, if you love this Monday or Tuesday, Thursday crew, Sean Little, J Money is Money, you'll love Tommy John. Get 25% off your first order at TommyJohn.com/buckets. That's 25% off at TommyJohn.com/buckets. And since we're talking Tommy John, go get some Tommy John ASAP. J Money is Money. Rough slate. Any advice to the people coming down the stretch here? Can you believe there's only 7? A lot of teams either have 17 or 18 games left in the season. It's coming down to the wire. I'll say this. don't overextend yourself trying to pick up spots that don't have any meaning, and you have really hard time finding motivation for some of these squads. Just give it a couple weeks. The play-in starts the second week of April. It'll be back to full throttle NBA hoops. That's the only thing I got for you. Show patience. Go dig into the NFL salary cap if you need a break and figure
Or
out.
college. Or college ball.
Hop on the college ball and some guys that are playing for something, but be careful overextending yourself on the NBA before it gets to the playoffs. Anything to add to that, Jim?
No, just watch for teams like the Cavs and the Thunder that pretty much already have their number one seed locked up. There's not a ton much more to play for. Now, versus the big time teams, they're still going to come and like sharpen their tools up and get ready for the playoffs. But for some of these teams laying 18.5, I wouldn't be banking on them to be playing the whole game that serious. They're not trying to get injured. Teams like the Cavs pretty much have the number one seed pretty much locked up. I know that the Thunder pretty much have it locked up, but I'm almost positive that the Cavs pretty much have that number one seed locked up as well, man. So, I believe they're 7 games ahead, 7.5 games ahead of the Celtics with about 17 or 18 games. So it's not official like a referee blowing a whistle, but I mean, they pretty much got it locked up. The Thunder have an 11-game lead on the Denver Nuggets. So just keep an eye out on that. Some teams are jockeying for playoff position. Others pretty much are set in stone where they are, and they don't want to get injured. And always remember, you never have to force a bet as well. If you feel like you might regret it, don't bet it.
I like that. There's a couple of numbers.
We put that on a shirt.
That is a shirt. There's a couple numbers floating around out in the market for the Cavs to win 70 plus. That's how far out ahead they are in the East, even against the Boston Celtics. All right, to recap, J Money is money. Wizards team total under 109.5 minus 110. I'm on the Nets team total over 103.5 minus 110. This first show with me and J Money where we got the Nets and the Wizards involved. So I hope y'all enjoy that. For J Money is money, I am your host, Sean Little. Go subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. Download the Action Network app if you haven't already somehow. Like we say, tons of stuff coming out for college ball with March Madness here right around the corner. Conference tournaments here have already begun. So go check out all that content coming out of the Action Network house. For J Money is money, I'm your host, Sean Little. Until next time, which is tomorrow, let's get buckets, baby.